For over a century, mafia groups have been known to be some of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world, although they're not always as large or as influential as terrorist groups. Cults, or even triads, there's one thing that the mafia has always had over other crime groups: strategy. The mafia is by far one of the smartest and most calculated criminal enterprises to ever exist. This has allowed them to take over entire countries without anyone even noticing. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at how the mafia took over an entire country. However, the central government was unable to assert its authority over the island, and the mafia continued to thrive. This was due in part to the fact that Italy's economy was booming, and there was a lot of money to be made in illegal activities such as drug trafficking and extortion. In addition, the mafia had become more sophisticated and better organized than ever before. The mafia is a criminal organization that engages in a wide range of illegal activities, including extortion, murder, and drug trafficking. Many of its leaders have been arrested or killed, but new ones have risen to take their place. For example, the Russian mafia is a powerful criminal organization that is involved in a wide range of illegal activities in Russia and other parts of Eastern Europe. Their ability to operate in plain sight and their willingness to use extreme measures to maintain their power is truly remarkable, but they're not the only ones. There are other criminal organizations out there that have taken over large parts of their own countries. What do you think? Are there any other countries that have been taken over by crime organizations? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our others. Thanks for watching. The Chinese triads are another example of a criminal organization that has taken over large areas of their country. The mafia is still involved in a wide range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and illegal gambling. They also continue to corrupt government officials and police officers in order to protect their interests. However, the government has been taking steps to try and combat the mafia. There are special anti-mafia courts and police units that have been set up in order to deal with the threat that the mafia still poses. And there are also laws in place that make it easier to prosecute mafia members. Despite all of this, the mafia is still a major problem in Sicily. It's estimated that there are around 3,000 mafia families still operating on the island, and they have a strong presence in many of the major cities. This means that the average citizen still has to be cautious about getting involved with the mafia. If you refuse to pay your respects, chances are you won't last long. They often operate in countries with weak governments and law enforcement, allowing them to flourish and grow in power. Once they gain a foothold in a country, the mafia will use any means necessary to maintain their power, including bribery, intimidation, and violence. They will target key government officials and businesses, demanding that they pay a certain amount of money or face the consequences. If the government or business refuses to comply, the mafia will use violence to make them comply. This can include bombings, shootings, or even kidnapping and murder. The mafia also preys on the general public, extorting money from shopkeepers and businesses. They will also engage in violent crimes, such as murder and assault, if they feel that someone is threatening their organization. To keep their power, the mafia relies heavily on the element of fear. People are often too afraid to come forward and report their activities out of fear of retaliation. This allows the mafia to continue their criminal activities undetected and unpunished. The fear factor is what allows the mafia to take over entire countries. People are simply too afraid to stand up against them. They are now able to operate with relative impunity, and their influence spread to all aspects of Sicilian society. In fact, the mafia would eventually grow so powerful that it would begin to control the entire island of Sicily. During World War II, the mafia actually sided with the Axis powers and fought against the Allies. After the war, though, the mafia was officially outlawed, and its leaders were arrested or killed. However, the mafia was able to survive and would eventually make a comeback in the 1960s. Viewer discretion is advised for this video, as some of this video may be offensive or disturbing. Its strategic location in the Mediterranean Sea has made it a crucial point for trade and travel throughout history. Well, it started just like any other criminal enterprise. With violence and intimidation, the mafia is a highly secretive organization, and its members are bound by a strict code of silence, known as. This code of silence makes it difficult to investigate and prosecute mafia members, as they are often unwilling to cooperate with law enforcement. The mafia also uses violence and intimidation to maintain its power. Members of the Mafia have been known to use extreme measures to silence those who threaten their organization, whether they're law enforcement officials, journalists, or ordinary citizens. If you know something that could bring down the Mafia, chances are you won't be around long enough to tell anyone. Another way that the Mafia maintains its power is through corruption. Members of the Mafia are known to bribe public officials to turn a blind eye to their activities. This corruption is widespread and has allowed the Mafia to operate with impunity for years. They've also infiltrated many legitimate businesses and organizations and used them as fronts for their illegal activities. It is estimated that the Mafia controls billions of dollars worth of legitimate businesses, and this gives them a great deal of power and influence. Despite all of this, the Italian government has been trying to crack down on the Mafia in recent years. They've arrested and prosecuted hundreds of Mafia members and have seized their assets. However, the Mafia is still a powerful force in Sicily and remains a serious threat to the stability of the region. Because of its location, Sicily was heavily influenced by many different cultures, including Greek, Arab, Byzantine, and Norman. In modern times, though, Sicily is known for being the birthplace of the Mafia. But before the Mafia took control of the island, it was ruled by a series of different families who ran like a small monarchy. These families were incredibly wealthy and lived very lavish lifestyles. They also had complete control over their people and used this power to make huge profits. This led to a lot of resentment from the poorer Sicilians, who felt that they were being exploited by the rich elite. This resentment would eventually boil over and lead to the rise of the Mafia. We, the makers of this video, in no way support or condone the actions of the subjects featured. Sicily is an autonomous region of Italy, consisting of the island of Sicily and several smaller islands. The origins of the Mafia can be traced back to the mid-19th century, when Sicily was under the rule of the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. At the time, Sicily was one of the poorest regions in Europe, despite having a lot of natural resources. This was due in part to the fact that the ruling elite were more interested in living lavish lifestyles than in improving the lives of their people. As a result, many Sicilians turned to banditry as a way to survive. However, the police force at the time was unable to effectively deal with the bandits because they were often better equipped and more ruthless than the police themselves. This led to the formation of private armies of wealthy landowners, who would hire gunmen to protect their estates and enforce their will on the local population. Some of these gunmen belonged to secret societies which provided mutual aid and protection to their members. One of the most famous of these societies was the Santa Semasasha, or the Holy Company. Members of these societies were known to dress all in black and cover their faces with masks while committing crimes, which gave them a reputation for being feared and mysterious outlaws. Over time, these secret societies would evolve into what we today know as the Mafia. When Italy unified in 1861, Sicily became part of the new Kingdom of Italy. In the 1960s, the Mafia experienced a resurgence in power and influence. How they took over? So let's get to the real reason you clicked on this video. How did the Mafia take over an entire country? Why they did it? The Mafia likely took over Sicily for the same reasons they took over anywhere else: power and money. Who really controls Sicily today? The Mafia is still a powerful force in Sicily today, although it's not as prominent as it once was. Sicily isn't the only country that the Mafia has taken over. In fact, the Mafia has a presence in many countries around the world. The Mafia is a dangerous and elusive criminal organization that has managed to take over large parts of several countries.